Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Yeah, Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. We got a lot of recapping to do. There was a bunch of wrestling from Friday to today. We've got Rampage, we've got Smackdown, we've got Saturday's Halloween Havoc. But we've also got, of course, a lot of chatter about CM Punk and what his next thing is going to be after he, assuming, gets bought out by the All Elite Wrestling. So we're going to talk about that here in a second. First up, congratulations to the Enforcer, the new once again. How does it feel to be a transitional champion for the Enforcer's dominant second half of this year, Larson?
I'm happy it's the Enforcer.
Right, yeah. Me
if it were you, I'd be really upset. But yeah. Enforcer, totally cool with it.
You got creamed. Really bad showing from you.
But the month before that, dominant showing for me.
I know. You did great. Hey, look, man, you're doing great work these days on everything. And very exciting later on in the show, as is the new tradition. Triple H will
I'll be honest, I'm still dealing with this cold.
Oh, man.
Not in the best mood right now.
Right. Maybe he'll help perk you up. They had a strong showing at Halloween Havoc. He's got to be happy about that. I think that maybe fortunes will change. You gotta have an open mind, Larson. I know it's not your strong suit, but you gotta have an open mind about these things. Yeah, just look. Just don't.
You think if I tell him, hey, Triple H, I don't feel that great. The floor is yours, essentially. What's this thing? You just like being interrupted. Don't want to interrupt them.
Yeah. Well, that's step number one, man. Because from what I understand, you interrupt that guy a lot.
I did it. I only asked fair questions.
Look, man, many people are saying is all I'm saying.
All right. One of the questions I asked Triple H last week on our SmackDown preview on Friday was, hey, what interest could WWE have in bringing Phil back?
Oh, yeah, right.
Of course, He laughed. He scoffed it.
Oh, wow.
But following news on Friday from Wrestling Observer's Dave Meltzer, that AEW is in talks with CM Punk about a contract buyout, and Dave then speculated about the possibility of Punk going back to WWE. Fightful Select reached out to sources in WWE to see if there was any interest in bringing CM Punk back. Sources told Fightful that while Vince McMahon likely wouldn't have been interested in a Punk return, things could be different with Triple H in charge, and that, quote, under the Triple H regime, in the right situation, right money, and right creative, could leave the door open for anything within reason. With one source noting to Fightful, quote, Triple H wants to be a success and make compelling programming more than anything. CM Punk back at WWE is compelling programming. I can't see it being a full-time deal like he has at AEW because of exactly what happened to AEW. That's even if he has interest. If he gets a buyout, he might not need to work again.
Mm-hmm.
And on the recent PW Torch show, Wade Keller confirmed Triple H would be more likely to bring in Punk than Vince would have, but noted that at least one person in Triple H's inner circle likely wouldn't be interested in having Punk return. These transcripts come to you from Wrestle Talk. Quote, somebody who's currently in WWE and is within the sphere of influence of Paul Levesque's decision-making would be a hard no, as of me asking this person today. A hard no on endorsing the return of CM Punk, even if it would help business. I won't go into exactly what was said, but when I asked, I got a long paragraph of one sentence after another of negative comments about how they feel about Punk now compared to 8, 9, 10 years ago based on what's happened in AEW in the last 13 months. And by the way, related to this, I talked to 3 people of significant stature in AEW in the last couple of days. I asked how would a vote go in the AEW locker room if they were to ask if they wanted Punk to return. One person said he wouldn't fare very well. Another person said he thinks he might not get a single vote. And someone else says he doesn't think he'd get many votes. I think he'd get some personally just based on conversations I've had the last 6 weeks with others. 3 people I just talked to in the last few days are higher prominent people of influence in that locker room. So that tells you something about his standing and why I think if Punk were to return, it wouldn't necessarily go well for him in either place. And I think that's going to fall into the calculation of Tony Khan right now, and it might fall into the calculation of Paul Levesque. I still believe Levesque would be more likely to bring him in than Vince McMahon for the reasons I said, but I think there would be some pushback by people in Levesque's sphere of influence.
Oh, man. Road Dogg hates CM Punk apparently. No, I don't know. We've heard a number of people that are sort of within the sphere of influence. So, I mean, feel free to speculate all day long, friendos. Let us know in the comments who's writing extremely long paragraphs that are anti-CM Punk related. Obviously he's close now with Paul Heyman, we've heard, in terms of creative influence. You'd think that it probably wouldn't be Paul Heyman, just because Paul Heyman, CM Punk was a Paul Heyman guy,
Yeah.
They seem to, and on top of that, Heyman's work with guys, obviously, like Brock Lesnar, who you bring in on a part-time basis, make a big deal about him, and then he goes along his happy way, which is no doubt what they do with CM Punk. I honestly think it'd be, the Punk will have, by the time this buyout's done with, I have no doubt Punk will have all the money in the world. So you got to ask yourself, what would other motivations be? And one obvious one would simply be wanting to go out on a better note than he did. And I think that's possible in WWE. I think there's, since our conversation on Friday, which I uploaded to the Friendo Club TV channel now as its own clip, you can check that out there. But since we've had that conversation, I think there's absolutely incentive for WWE and CM Punk to work together again, from his standpoint and from their standpoint. If they can make it clear, hey, this is what we'd like to do with you. This is what you do. You'd come in for a short period of time, go do whatever you want to do, come back for a short period of time for Mania seasons, for SummerSlams. If he's interested in rehabbing what may be in his thoughts, man, I was done wrong by AEW. Those guys put a hit on my reputation. If that's where he's coming from, WWE's got a TV contract coming up.
Yeah.
And if they want to increase that multiplier, you got to boost your ratings even more than they have done now. And we know that one of their biggest partners, Fox, $1 billion partner, wanted them to bring in CM Punk. He was considering coming back to WWE back when he did Backstage. We know that. And he said no, because they were playing games. This is a different outfit here. This isn't Vince McMahon. And even though Triple H has been sort of, we know that he's obviously hasn't really been the biggest fan of CM Punk in the past, but you got to think he's a smart guy and he knows, what might bring in ratings. Well, this guy's he's a lightning rod of controversy right now, and that will bring in ratings. So,
that's true.
Maybe he won't need money, but money isn't everything for people. Maybe he wants to go out, on a better note in wrestling. Or maybe he just wants to say, fuck it, that sucked, I'm out of here. Depends on what he wants, as always. Right?
He had seemingly had a bad enough taste in his mouth after he left WWE that, whether, excuse me, directly or indirectly, that led to him being out of the business for 7 years. Now, after about a year at AEW, seemingly a falling out here between himself and the company, is that also going to leave a bad enough taste in his mouth that he's like, done with it for now, at least. Who knows? The time is, as we've both noted, time is ticking because he is old. He seems to be injury prone. This is a very small side note, but just interestingly and coincidentally enough, Chris Amon, the guy who had his lawsuit with, left the company about a month ago. So I doubt that would ever be an issue, but that's one less, even if it's a minor complication that's out of the way. But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I feel like it probably all depends on what CM Punk wants. Because if you're WWE, what's Triple H's job? It's to boost ratings. It's to create the most compelling content to get the most viewers. Yeah. Like you can make, look, he's been doing this for however many decades. You can manage locker room stuff. You can manage that stuff. He's not going to sit there in a press conference and start, slobbering all over CM Punk like Tony Khan did. And look, CM Punk was putting up seemingly in the beginning a really good face. Like, I don't necessarily even blame Tony Khan for being that sort of like effusive about him in the beginning. I don't know if, business wise, looking back, I'm not sure it was the best idea in the world. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's probably a lot of incentive for WWE now. Is there incentive on CM Punk's part to say, hey, I'm going to stick it to AEW for ruining my reputation and go out
on a higher note, get a Hall of Fame induction and go along my merry way and say publicly, oh, yeah, the culture here has changed. You know?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I guess with the 2-day WrestleMania, he can main event, get that wish, main event night one.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You know, it's going to take a certain degree of eating crow for CM Punk to go back to WWE for a lot of reasons.
That is true. That is definitely true.
You know, that's going to kind of be a massive hurdle, potentially, or not. I don't know. But especially if he came back for more of a part-time schedule.
Mm-hmm.
You know, considering some of the stuff he was talking about back when The Rock came back, challenge for the title that he had, that Phil had.
Well, but now he's got a good excuse for being part-time. He gets injured all the time. You come back, you say, hey, my body can't handle being here full-time as much as I'd love to be here full-time. As much as I'd love to be. Body can't handle it. But if you say straight up, I'm not going to hold anybody, I'm not trying to hold anybody back, you know, you can say that.
Yeah, but I guess you could say that, you know.
Mm-hmm. But, you know, he's taking up somebody else's spot. I think, look, it's as we always say, it's wrestling. You can write somebody to say anything.
Oh, I know.
And you throw it to the people and they'll eat it up. But yeah, I think it squarely falls on what CM Punk wants to do. But if you're Paul Levesque, if you're Triple H, I don't know, man. I'm like, hey, fuck it. You know, he brings in ratings. You know, if he wants to be left alone in the locker room, then we'll get him his own room, you know. Or if we want him to not be around people in the locker room, we'll just say, I want to be around CM Punk, stay away from him. It's a big place we got here.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth the phone call on Triple H's.
You would think so, yeah.
Part. And if it goes nowhere, it goes nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, Halloween Havoc went down this weekend. And I thought it was a pretty good, you know, it was a premium live event.
It was an odd show in that it was bookended by like 2 really fun wrestling matches.
Yeah, right.
The ladder match and then the main event.
Main event was,
and then everything in between was like uneven, gimmicky stuff.
Yeah, they really upped the gimmicky aspect of things. I thought the low point for me, sadly, but not kind of shockingly, given how the story is played out, it was the Apollo Crews Waller stuff. That was just, it was
Let me ask you something.
As hell. Yeah.
If you're going to have a gimmick match with that story, why would you do a casket match?
Why didn't they do a blindfold match?
I know, that makes all the sense in the world.
Or
do a lights out match, something, you know, something involving vision.
Yeah, the whole story is everybody has pink eye. Do a blindfold match, right?
I know. Or if they're worried that's too goofy, then do the lights out match. Let's bring the house lights down.
Put a bunch of fog in the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was like, why a casket match? I mean, I didn't watch the pre-show because I guess they actually did the wheel spinning during the pre-show.
Yeah.
But it didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense with the story that was being told and how they booked it. I was like,
yeah.
I mean, I understand that Cruz wasn't inside the casket. The door wasn't closed, but he was inside the casket.
I don't know what the refs expected because if I'm Grayson Waller, I'm like, I just won this shit too. Like there were bits of door on him. Like, what do you want from me? Like, you know, oh no, we got to get out a different casket. It's like, what are you talking about? I put him in the damn thing. It's not my fault that you guys didn't open it. Or maybe that's not supposed to be on the rest. I guess it's the wrestler supposed to open it.
Yeah.
Then the rest kept it open. I don't know. But yeah, no, that whole thing was silly. Apollo Crews should not be anywhere near supernatural stuff. Mm-hmm. He really shouldn't be. And you know what? I can appreciate them going a different route. Then maybe he wanted that. Maybe he was like, hey, you know what? I don't need to be. It's funny. I listened to a bit of his interview with Denise Salcedo, which you can check out on her YouTube channel. And he was talking about, you know, the accent, the Nigerian stuff. And he had some very interesting stuff to say about that, how he kind of knew, like he knew pitching that they would immediately be like accent, even though he was like, God, I hope they don't do this. And they did, you know, and then he did that. So apparently he was not a big fan of the accent. So it's nice that he got to get away with that. But I thought him as, you know, sort of arrogant heel, I thought worked really well. And I think you could still do that with him. But it's something different. Maybe he just wanted to try something different and they decided to oblige. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, part of
It's goofy as fuck, though.
it is, and part of that is a lot of it's the implementation. The fact that now if it's a situation, I thought about this the other day. So apparently, once his visions appear on programming, then everybody can see them, which makes no sense at all.
No, that's immediately, yeah.
No, not it's completely and utterly nonsensical.
Nonsensical.
Unless, what if this were the case? He's having his visions, but they didn't show up in his mind, like he'd project them on a TV or something, and so they'd show up on the TV, and that way it'd be a means like, oh, people can watch them now.
And you could buy him from Best Buy.
If you want, whatever. So, like that would at least tie that together. Like there was some thing about his visions that they'd just show up on the TV.
Yeah.
That's a way around other people seeing him.
Yeah.
But the fact that he has his visions and they air on the show, that other people watch the show and they can see his visions, makes absolutely no sense.
No, I'll be honest, man. I can't even try to apply logic. It's silly. It's a step too far, to be honest with you, when it comes to, like, suspension of disbelief. But anyways, we're sort of harping on the one super negative aspect of it. I thought there was other good stuff here in the show.
There was. I just kind of felt like a lot of the matches in between the ladder match, the main event, this all kind of ran together because they're all stipulation matches that led to a lot of weapons and or brawling happening. And it just didn't feel like there was a ton of variety.
So I'll be honest with you. I thought that besides Waller versus Apollo, which was oddly boring and silly, I thought there was something to appreciate from everything else. Like, it did sort of come off like an extended episode of NXT, but I mean, I guess that's to be expected. Like, I thought that the Cora Jade versus Roxanne Perez stuff, I thought that was all right. I liked the big spot there where they came off the perch. Man, it takes a lot. They're like, what, 19 and 20 years old, 20, 21 years old, something like that. It takes a lot of balls to, like, fucking go back first, and I like that. Roxanne hesitated because she was like, I don't want to kill a person. And then Cora Jade took advantage and said, you're coming with me, the total New Jack thing there. And so I kind of like that. Like, was the match a bit awkward with the rest of the weapons? Perhaps. But I appreciate that they did that stuff. I actually really like the ambulance match. I thought those guys just gave fucking everything they had. You and I become big fans of Damon Kemp. Julius Creed, obviously. And I hope Damon's got a big... I hope they see a lot in him. Julius, obviously, they have big plans for. Oh yeah, going forward.
That's the case. Yeah.
So I like that. I liked a lot of the ambulance conventions. I like the fact that he had his hands trying to outside. The only thing keeping him from losing was his fucking fingers getting annihilated.
His metacarpals and phalanges.
Right, exactly, the digits. So I thought that was fine. I thought the one thing that I'll agree with you on is the Alba Fire versus Mandy Rose. The cinematic stuff was fine, I guess, if you like that kind of stuff. I know it's goofy. I know, man.
It's really goofy. Really goofy.
I'm sure they had to light that shit and everything. So I'm giving.
I did think that props. Gigi's performance in the cinematic stuff was pretty effective. I thought she was pretty funny.
She's good. But in the end, it played out the same fucking way as all of Mandy's matches. It's just
it didn't necessarily add anything to it. No,
it didn't. Toxic Attraction shows up, big distraction. That awesome running knee of Mandy's to get the win. Mm-hmm. I mean, if she loses her title, it ain't going to be until New Year's Evil because she's coming up on a year-long reign, and I think they want to make her reign like a big deal. It's going to be somebody here. It's going to be like Roxanne Perez or somebody.
It's going to probably have to be like in a cage match or something like that.
Yeah, but also it's not going to be. It's going to be somebody younger. It's going to be.
So the next pay-per-view is December 10th. Oh
yeah, that's right.
Premium live event. Sorry.
Yeah. Premium live event. At that point, I think it'll be over a year at that point for her.
Yeah, I think so.
It'd
be a year on Wednesday because she said that during the show.
Okay. Well, there you go. And then, like you said, I thought the ladder match and I thought the main event was fucking outstanding. I thought that all the little story beats there were really, really good. I was really into that match. I thought that was good. I mean, it didn't do anything for Braun Breaker. I mean, at the end of the day, they're not going to get Braun Breaker is such a boring fucking character. And you could just tell that he seems like he's like, I don't know, waiting. He just seems like he's waiting to do something.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with him every single time. Somebody steps up. Yeah. No, you're not going to win. I'm going to beat you. And then he does.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I was kind of disappointed. I was kind of disappointed that Not that so much that Ilya took the loss, but it was just pretty much a straightforward. He just took an L.
Well, yeah, I mean, if he didn't get distracted, I think the idea, if he didn't get so distracted by JD on the outside, then he'd have had a shot against Braun Breaker. So they'll probably do a one-on-one where, guess what? He'll lose straight up. so yeah.
Well, I mean, he got distracted, then Ilya hit a bunch of moves and sets up for the torpedo, and Braun just spears him for the win.
Oh, I thought he just didn't come in and then got
no, because he hits JD with like the torpedo off the ring steps. He gets back in the ring, tells Braun to bring it. They trade a bunch
they
of
do
strikes.
The hockey thing. Yeah, okay.
Ilya hits a German suplex and a clothesline, and then he's like calling for this finish, and then Braun just spears him.
Yeah, so he had the ideas. He had his opportunity. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, well, I want them to do something with Braun. Do something with him.
Dimension.
I'll be on. Look, better for good or bad. Everybody else in NXT has a story. You look at Wes Lee. This dude's lost because his buddy left. He's got a story.
This.
What?
I'll say this right now. Braun's story is still learning how to be a wrestler, and
man,
it is because they made such a huge point. Last time he got himself in a triple threat match, he lost.
He's been champion for a year.
Now that he was in triple threat match, he learned how to win that. Learn how to be a wrestler.
I kind of appreciated before. Like, it's funny because earlier in his run, his story was that. But I mean, Ilya brought the triple threat thing up like once. Commentary.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's still his story. I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying that's still his story.
Yeah, I know. They need to get it. It's been a year.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's lost it a couple times, but or once anyways.
Let's take a break here. Get a word from our sponsor, RexMD. Listen, guys, I understand. I get it. You don't like going to the doctor. I know it's no fun having to schedule your whole day around going to the doctor, and it's really no fun having to talk to the doctor about certain issues, particularly those down there in the crotch chop zone.
You guys know what we're talking about, but here's something to keep in mind. Most men's health issues have a simple solution, and RexMD is all about those simple solutions. You see, RexMD makes getting generic and branded Viagra or Cialis easy. Everything's online, even the prescription, and they deliver straight to your door. No office visits, no talking to a receptionist. It's super simple.
It is super simple. All you got to do is fill out a quick medical questionnaire online, and a doctor will review your situation to prescribe you generic Viagra if appropriate. And you know what? I actually had no idea that Viagra can cost around $90 a pill.
Wow.
But with RexMD, you can get generic Viagra for as low as $2 a pill.
Wow. Thanks to RexMD, over 300,000 guys have gotten generic Viagra quickly and conveniently. RexMD is fast, simple, and cheap, and you can access your U.S. licensed RexMD physician anytime you need afterwards.
RexMD just works, and it works the very first night. So guys, are you ready?
Bam.
Starter packs of generic Viagra or Cialis are now available for our viewers, but you've got to go to RexMD.com/raw to get started. That's RexMD, RexMD.com/raw.
But yeah, they need to do something with them. Man, I've always said that there aren't enough Brock Lesnar's in the business, which is like dominant heels who don't have to cheat. They just fuck people up, and they're bad, and they're assholes. There's not enough of that. There is not enough of that. And that's what Braun Breaker could be. Like, I'm not saying you have to, have him go out there and talk about, freaks and everything, although I think that would be awesome. But I don't know. He's a Steiner. Let him be a Steiner. Let him do Steiner stuff beyond just the superficial, Have him be a bit of a dickhead. He's too cool. He's too nice, and he just waits for other people.
Yeah, he's not proactive.
Not proactive, no.
And when WWE gets into bad booking of faces, it's because they're never proactive.
Yeah, right, yeah.
That's why Drew McIntyre has, in the last few years been kind of probably one of the best baby faces WWE has had because he's proactive.
Yeah.
He doesn't wait for the fight to come to him. He takes the fight to people.
Dude, sometimes that means getting into a car accident. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, Shotzi, we'll just kick this thing off here. Shotzi and Quincy introduce the show. Then we get the North America. Oh, Shotzi she had a couple of cool outfits. She was the Joker.
Yeah, it was the Joker gear here, and then Beetlejuice later.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Quincy was a banana with a banana at one point. So kicked off with the North American title ladder match. This was awesome. Just a bunch of cool shit. people do. Well, I'll put it this way. There is just a bunch of cool shit and Von Wagner.
Yeah.
Von Wagner looked like half the time he didn't know how to open a ladder.
Yeah, he almost hit someone in the face with the ladder.
He did. He was so confused. It was the most WWE 2K22 AI, 2K19 AI. Or 20. I'm sorry, 20 was the real bad one.
Glitches out where they're trying to
figuring out where the fuck it is, almost hitting a lady in the face with
But
it.
in the game, they'll start like vibrating.
I'm pretty sure Von Wagner did that here too. So yeah, that was crap. But anyways, I like that in the end. So everybody gets laid out in some way, except for Mello and Wes Lee, and so they got to play their story out in the end, where Mello's trying to keep Wes Lee, but his tricks out. Everybody else is out. So they both climb on the ladder, bridge between ropes and another ladder. They get into a hockey fight. Lee hits Mello with a Meteora off the ladder. And then he's able to do that. He climbs and then he gets it. So, yeah, awesome for Wes Lee, man. That's what a rough situation being a tag team specialist, basically. And then your dude goes out through no fault of your own. And and where you're stuck, because he's a terrific wrestler. So I'm really glad they recognized that and said, hey, you're going to be the next guy after Mello. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty great. Then we get a Alba Fire digital exclusive. Essentially saying, Mandy, if you want to fight fire, meet me here. Look like an old church or something like that.
Yeah, right.
We go to the Toxic Lounge. Mandy's all right, let's do it. And JC, especially, and Gigi are like, are you sure you want to do that? And Mandy says, what I have to be afraid of, the most dominant champ in NXT history. Says, I'm going to go beat Alba down, finish the match in the ring tonight.
Oh, somebody here mentions also we've got to give some shout outs to Robert Stone, who took a nasty
tumble was bad.
Nasty tumble off with him and Trick up at the top fighting each other. That was really, really good stuff.
Yeah, it was.
After that, we had Toxic Attraction pulling up to wherever that place was, that Alba was. And JC's like, nah, F this, we got to get out of here. Gigi says, what are you talking about? It's 3-on-1. Come on, let's do this. She says, we beat up Alba. There won't even be a match tonight. And then JC's like, I don't want to do this. Gigi and Mandy say, come on, we're going. They leave their SUV. Some ghoul type dude welcomes JC because they all split up then. Or no, at that point, some ghoul welcomes JC. She punches him out. Toxic Attraction walk up to this old church. The door opens. Alba says, Mandy, come and play. And then they split up to look for Alba, which is a bad move because you never split up in a horror movie.
Yep.
So Alba sneaks up behind JC, takes her out. Gigi, she's all about it. She loves Halloween. She's in her element here.
Yeah, she was a lot of fun in this.
She was. She takes a seat at the table. Alba shows up behind her, rams her head into the table. They brawl. Alba punches Gigi into an old fridge. And then Mandy walks up to an organ, presses a key, walks away, but then it starts playing by itself. Alba appears. Her and Mandy brawl. Mandy's about to hit Alba with the bat. And then a ghoul takes it from her. According to your notes, a ghoul. I like that you use that phrase. Alba gets the bat back, chokes Mandy with it. Alba puts Mandy in the SUV, takes her bat to Gigi and JC because they're outside, and then she drives off. To the Performance Center she goes.
Yep. Then we have Grayson Waller versus Apollo Crews. Booker T probably had the line of the night during this match when Grayson Waller takes Vic's pen and pokes Apollo Crews in the eye with it while they're brawling on the announce table. And then Booker T was asking Vic, don't you feel bad about that? He used your pen. That kind of makes you an accomplice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Gosh, that was great.
That was pretty funny.
That was great. So there was a weird finish here where they're both not finished, near finish, both on the top rope. And Waller sticks his thumbs in Cruz's eyes. So Cruz falls off the top rope and goes through the casket. And Waller's like, well, I won, right? That's a win, yeah? And the rest are all kind of confused, and they are like, no, but then the lights come down, they come back up, and then Cruz no longer in the casket. He's up at the ramp, and there's a bunch of druids who bring down a larger casket. And they set that up, and eventually Apollo Crews gets Waller into it with a choke slam, closes it to get the win finally. They tease a tombstone towards the end, especially. There was a lot of Undertaker references.
Yeah, there was. Yeah. So kind of goofy. I mean, they were trying their damnedest to make, some chicken salad there, but just sort of chicken shit.
Yeah, great.
This popped me big time. We had a Chase You video He says, I want to thank some of you for your history of Halloween Havoc reports. He berates others for not knowing anything about Halloween Havoc 95. He says, also, we've got a new transfer student, and it's Duke Hudson. And he says, all right, we're going to give you a chance. We're going to keep an eye on you. And Duke, being the perfect student, says, I understand. I'm here to learn from you, Chase, and get to know all of you. And then Chase asks a bonus question. Who did the Outsiders beat at Halloween Havoc 96? And Bodie answers, it was the Nasty Boys. And he's like, no. And he's like, no, it was the Steiners. And he's like, he's wrong. And Duke says, I believe it was Booker T and Stevie Ray, a.k.a. Harlem Heat. And then he's like, yes, that's correct. And then Thea Hale looks over at Duke, and Duke gives her a wink and a nod. And Bodie's not happy about that. He's like, he goes up to Chase afterwards, he's like, hey man, I don't trust Duke. And he says, neither do I. He says, but you need to be more prepared for class, man. So Duke's gonna take over as number one student
at
Chase University, man. It's so bad. It's funny.
It is funny. We got a pretty deadly interview. They talk about Enofe, a Blade, wanting to shock the world, but the only shocking thing is that they're getting the time of day with NXT's Dandy Highwaymen. But that comes with territory when you're the greatest NXT tag champ. So then Chance and Carter steps in, and they say, "Oh, you think you're the best champs? The only thing you're worried about is what you're going to wear." And then they just kind of say, "Well, we'll see who ends up leaving Tuesday with their belt still."
Yep. After that, we had Cora Jade versus Roxanne Perez. Weapons wild match, and they did go wild with the weapons. We had a skateboard that was not gimmicked that Roxanne Perez was able to use on Cora Jade.
I do appreciate the use of the skateboard, that kind of being related to Cora's previous gimmick.
And the turn, because she like stomped her into the scale, or she tried to hit her with a skateboard, but it was too gimmicky.
That was way gimmicked, yeah.
But it was an attempt at a good story beat there, so they used that here,
yeah. In the end, though, there's that spot off the perch where they go tumbling through the tables. But then I thought they got to their feet like really quick.
Well, they're young. You can do that when you're that young.
That was a bit of a fall anyway. So
I've seen enough backyard wrestling videos where they do shit like fall off houses and stuff. They get back up pretty quick, man.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's a pile of chairs in the ring. So Cora's looking for a DDT on the chairs. Roxanne reverses that into a backdrop. Follows with pop rocks on chairs to get the win.
That was cool. Yeah. After that, looks like Dijak is coming back to NXT.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, take this mask right here. I can't breathe in this thing. I'm going to put it in the garbage can. I'm T-Bar no longer. No more T-Bar. I assume. Yeah, right. I assume he's not going to be T-Bar.
Yeah, I assume it'd be Dijak.
Yeah, man.
Or Dijakovic.
Dijakovic, yeah. Just make him Dijak.
I know.
Sounds cooler.
Donovan Dijak was a cool name.
It was. I know. I agree. After that, Shotzi brings her tank to the ring. She's Beetlejuice. She says, I told you that Halloween Havoc would be the most blood-curdling night of the year. And so far, we've had ladders and a casket and a haunted house, oh my. And we've seen two women butcher what was left of their friendship. And we have so much more to go. And she says, but where's my co-host, Quincy? And then Quincy in a banana costume walks to the ring. Shotzi says, you're the sweetest banana I've ever seen. He says, I'm glad you find this costume appealing. And then they're interrupted by a Lash legend. And she's like, what the hell? They let Shotzi host, not me. She's like, I'm in NXT. She's not NXT, which is actually a good point. And then Quincy says, Lashing Out was canceled a while ago, and you're nowhere near as fabulous as me and my co-host. So take those little shoes and go back to the locker room. And then Lash says, I got a problem with someone from SmackDown hosting when there's a host like me that can do it better. And Quincy says, you got many great qualities, but hearing you on the mic is way more horrifying than anything can happen to here at Halloween Havoc. And then Shotzi says, Quincy is my scream queen, but I can handle this. And then Shotzi hits Lash with a DDT, and we're getting a match between those two this coming Tuesday.
We get a quick Schism promo. They talk about Casey says people wear masks on Halloween, but they also wear masks all year long to hide who they really are. Gibson says we're trying to get people to stop wearing those masks and join them. Drake says their pressure won't be delivered by will, but by force. And then Gacy says to the woman in the red hoodie, are you ready to remove your mask?
Soon.
And Gacy says it'll happen on Tuesday.
Soon to be revealed. As somebody who knows.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be somebody we know or like a next in line person?
I feel like since it's an unmasking situation, it'll probably be someone we know because it'll be like, why are they with Schism?
Yeah. But like the problem is anything is going to be underwhelming. It's going to be like, oh, what are they doing with Schism?
Yeah, I know.
I wonder if it's somebody from the UK.
Could be.
I'm trying to think now who wasn't released but also hasn't shown up on television. Oh, dude. Isla Dawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be.
Soon. We've got a witch now.
Yeah.
I wonder if she has a credit card.
Anytime you make me laugh, I'm gonna.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right. So after that, we had Damon Kemp versus Julius Creed. Damon showed up with a chair that had Julius spray painted on it. So of course Julius was the one to actually win because Damon Kemp, oh man, his batting average was terrible that night. He swung and he swung and he swung, and it was a miss after a miss after a miss. But these guys really, really fucking took it to each other.
Yeah, I mean, at several points they were just chucking stuff at each other.
Yeah, at one point, like Kemp ended up on a
Bell.
table near the ambulance, and fucking Julius just started like throwing office chairs and normal chairs and all sorts of shit at him, missing most of the time. But it was a cool effect. But yeah, no, they were really beating the shit out of each other in this match. It was cool. Julius was the first one. No, Damon was the first one to get in the ambulance. And he was able to kick his way back out of it. And then Julius ended up in the ambulance. And then maybe it was opposite. At one point, Julius was in the ambulance, and it looked like, man, all Damon Kemp, why are you walking around? Just close that fucking door as soon as you can. But he sort of hesitated for a second, and Julius got his hands out. He started slamming his fingers in the door.
Yeah, that
which
rough.
I don't know how they'd be able to like kayfabe that or to make that look good without him actually fucking his fingers up, because, man.
I know. The other day, I smushed my finger in the car door, and I was like, just the fingertip. I was like, that hurts.
I guess maybe if like you're taking most of the brunt like right here as opposed to like your tips.
I think maybe like in this part of your hand, maybe.
Where? Let me put your hand up a little bit.
Here.
Oh, was it here? It looked like it was close.
I don't know. I'm saying rather here rather than
right here than right here. Yeah, I don't know. Because it's like
Maybe.
the fist part right here. This can go through stuff. This right here might hurt. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
So yeah, in the end though, let's see here. Julius ended up giving him Oh, is that
power bomb on the stretcher?
He did a power bomb on the stretcher, which looked gnarly. The stretcher kind of collapsed. Put a chair over him. Hit his is that where he hit his finish? Onto the that clothesline finish of his onto the chair, onto Kemp was awesome. Kemp was out. Julius picked him up, put him in the ambulance, closed that sumbitch for the win. Julius goes back to the ring. Brutus and Ivy join him to celebrate. Ambulance leaves the performance center, and Alba shows up in Mandy's car. She takes Mandy out of the car. They make their way into the PC, and then Alba puts Mandy in the ring, and we get our next match.
Yeah, and as we mentioned earlier, it was a typical match where Toxic Attraction helps Mandy get the win, despite all the stuff at the haunted house earlier. Kind of set it up so like, oh look, JC and Gigi, they can't be here. They're stuck in haunted house.
Yeah.
And then, sure enough, they show up later on. After Alba hits Mandy with a swanton, they pull the ref out of the ring while Alba's making the cover there. JC gets on the apron, then Alba super kicks her, and then she falls off the apron onto Gigi and the ref, so we get ref bump. So Mandy's looking for her running knee finish. Alba sidesteps that, hits a gory bomb, but the ref is still out. So she goes to the floor, puts the ref in the ring. And right after she does that, JC and Gigi hit her with like a high-low combo, put her in the ring. Mandy hits the running knee right as the ref is coming to get the win.
Yep. Yeah, kind of a standard Mandy Rose match. After that, we had an interview with Zoe Stark and Nikita Kronis. Zoe said, 1 year ago, my life changed. I thought my career was over. Didn't think I'd get a shot to become champion. We're on the doorstep. All we got to do is kick it down. Nikita says, Zoe's my main reason for wanting to win. So I can't wait to hear and new. And then Idris Nofa and Malik Blade step in. And he says, yeah, count on us in that too. And you're about to be a two-time tag champion. And Blade says, tag title Tuesday is going to be exhilarating. Remember when that dude was all about just having a boner?
Uh-huh.
Mandy Rose would come by and be like, oh, I can't stand up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's come a long way from there.
That is true. Then we had our main event, JD McDonough versus Ilya versus Braun Breaker. Braun had another one of his cheesy entrances. There's a couple of headstones, one with JD's name, the other with Ilya's name, and Braun had a shovel, and he just knocked him over.
Oh, it was
all about breaking things in his entrances.
Impressive swings, though. Like he sent those things flying. I mean, it was like styrofoam, but still.
Yeah, it was foam. So
yeah, it's not like it's real.
It's not real rock, not real stone.
Yeah, it still broke it though. Yeah, I'm a breaker.
Yeah, I mean, I won't argue with that, Braun. So this is a physical bout, and it was fun. Down towards the end, Braun hits his finish on Ilya. JD throws. So throughout especially the early portion of the match, JD was being super opportunistic.
Yeah.
He'd stand in the corner. He'd go outside. He'd find a moment to strike. He'd get in the ring. It didn't work out for him. He'd find the nearest opportunity to get out of the ring yet again and let Braun and Ilya go at it. At one point, Braun and Ilya double teamed JD for a bit.
Yeah.
To get him out of the equation so they could fight. But anyways. So Braun ends up hitting his finisher on Ilya. JD throws Braun out of the ring, covers, Ilya kicks out. Then Braun throws JD out of the rings looking for a spear. Instead, he runs into a knee from Ilya. Ilya hits Braun with a senton, hits the torpedo, and the refs count the pin. And right as he's about to count 3, JD grabs the ref's hand. So
that was
he
a
can't
cool
finish
spot.
the count.
Yeah, I like that one.
So Ilya gets pissed. He and JD starts trading shots. Ilya boots JD to the apron, and he falls to the floor. So Ilya sprints around the ring to hit JD with the clothesline. Instead, JD counters with a Spanish fly on the floor. JD then stops Ilya's ankle onto the ring steps, gets a chair, tries to hit him with that in the foot. Ilya evades, hits JD with a torpedo off the ring steps. And Ilya's slow to get back in the ring, and it's like, okay, he gets back in the ring, spear, bang, get it. Instead, he tells Braun, bring it. They start trading a bunch of strikes. Ilya hits a German suplex. He hits a clothesline. He's calling for the torpedo, and Braun just hits him with the spear for the win.
Yeah. Ilya sold the shit out of that spear, though.
Oh, he did.
Good-looking spear right there. Yeah! Anyways. We also had a SmackDown one day earlier on Friday, as per usual. Probably the biggest story coming out of that was Sheamus having his arm absolutely annihilated by a crazed Jey Uso. So much so that Sammy had to tell dude, you to dial it back a little bit. But it kind of seems obvious that that's going to be it's still going to be Bloodline versus the fight
Brutes.
The Brutes. Yeah.
Because WWE said that Sheamus suffered like a non-displaced fracture of his elbow or something like that.
Yeah, he'll make it back for. I mean, it's literally
about a month from now.
Yeah, it's about a month from now. Yeah, it's on the 26th.
And not only did Jay, lose his cool here in the opening segment, but he also went against what Sammy said was Roman's orders to leave Logan Paul alone in the main event segment. So Logan had a long promo. Jay comes out, does attack him. Mm-hmm. Sammy's like, don't do this, enough. Leave it alone. And Jay acts like, all right, yeah, sure, I'm about to leave. No, he gets back in the ring, and then he gets knocked out by Logan.
Yeah.
And that's Logan's thing. It's pretty much, I'm going to lose, but if I get one shot in, I could win.
Yeah, that's his thing. And this is also bad for Sammy because Roman doesn't really care. He just wants you to do your job. Yeah. And your job is and Sammy's job was to keep Jay from Logan Paul. Hey, keep him away.
Yep.
We got to do our job. Roman doesn't care that Jay went off and betrayed orders. He's not going to care about that. He's going to look at Sammy and be like, hey, you didn't do your job. Same thing he did with Jay. It didn't matter if Sammy told him to get back. He lost the match 2 weeks ago. So that was the situation. This storyline gives me anxiety. And it's in a really good way too. It's that story. And I talked about this before. I'm like, oh man, who's going to fuck up now? It's just all, the only guy who doesn't fuck up is Solo Sikoa, who just keeps on laughing at Sami Zayn, by the way.
And Jimmy to a certain extent.
And Jimmy. Yeah.
This is the closest I feel like we've gotten a wrestling storyline to a show like Ozark.
I know.
Or it's a series of bad decisions.
Dude, I know. That's the brilliance of it. It really, it's like that's what, honestly, that's why I had to stop watching Ozark, because I'm like, these people just make bad decision after bad decision. It's kind of Breaking Bad was kind of the same thing as well.
Yeah, they think every decision is going to get them out of the situation they're in. Instead, it gets them deeper into the situation.
Yeah, it was The Shield after like season 2. Yeah,
yeah,
it was the
Succession
same
has elements of that as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, honestly, like all the great TV does. It really does.
Yeah.
Or it makes you nervous to watch for these fucking people.
I know.
And
Succession is the only show I've ever watched where someone was doing something. I would literally yell at my TV, "No, don't do that.
Stop doing that." Yeah.
Stop doing that.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
And that's how I feel here. And it's been a while since I felt that way with wrestling. You know, I don't know if there's been a storyline that I've been like, oh my God, like I don't know if I want to watch this episode because I'm afraid of the tension. Which I love. You have to appreciate that shit. They've done such a masterful job with this stuff. Let's talk about this Bray Wyatt promo. So they're doing something kind of different, I noticed, production-wise with the promos, because there was 2 of them this time. Bray and I forget somebody else backstage doing a promo, and they have the music playing while they're doing their backstage promo. Do you think that was effective or distracting?
A little bit of both, because I thought the ebb and flow of Bray's promo actually lined up with the dynamics of his theme.
It did, yeah.
I just thought the music audio was mixed a little too high. If you brought the music down a little bit, and maybe bring it up as the song picks up.
It's a difficult thing to manage. Like, it's rare that you get, like, some directors will do it, but you don't see that in movies very often, where you'll have something on the soundtrack playing with lyrics and somebody's talking, doing their narration. The last time I really noticed it was the Batman, when the Nirvana song kicked in, and there's lyrics to that. And they did a really good job of sort of interplaying the lyrics with what he's saying.
Yeah.
And yeah, they sort of, you know, this Bray song sort of takes you through a journey. And I felt like it was sort of, I thought it worked. I thought it was a really cool idea that I think if they fine tune can be very effective.
Yeah.
But I thought we got a little bit more out of his promo this week. You know, it seems to be advancing a little bit. Yeah. Him coming to terms with, hey, there's some problems here.
And also, it seemed like at first he was talking to us, the audience.
Yeah.
And by the time he was done, it was pretty clear he wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was talking to one of these other 2 persona that we got now.
Well, yeah, it's a confession. You think he's confessing to us, and really it's like a self-reflection is what it is. So yeah, no, I thought that was pretty interesting stuff. It was a quick bit with him, but I thought it was pretty good.
We finally met Uncle Howdy.
Oh yeah, that's right. We did. That's right.
Because towards the end, there is another quick little bit where the other, I guess there's WWE trademarked 2 names. It was Uncle Harper and Uncle Howdy.
Yeah.
So I guess the one that we have seen up prior to SmackDown, if those are the 2 names he's using for the masked persona, that one we have seen would be Uncle Harper. And then there's another one that showed up, kind of like a cowboy type deal, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I got. I got old-timey prospector out of it.
Yeah. And he just shows up and just says, howdy.
Howdy.
Well, like, howdy.
What is that? Yeah, that's right.
And that was it. So,
So, yeah. So that'll be interesting. We had a really good match with Rey Mysterio and Ludwig Kaiser.
Yeah, that was really good.
That was good stuff. Of course, on Rey Mysterio's journey to get crushed by Gunther.
I just hope we see 619s in that match from both Rey and Gunther.
He's done it before.
I know.
He's done it before. Yeah. It started off with Sheamus versus Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa gets the win here thanks to some bloodline interference. Solo was really holding his own though anyways. And there was this great part where Sheamus is laid out in the corner. And Sami Zayn gets right to him and starts like laughing and pointing, and then like does a little, fake heart attack thing. And Solo looks over and starts fucking laughing at Sami.
He's trying to hold it, but he can't help himself.
He's trying his damnedest, but he can't help it.
I know. Sami's over there like pointing at Sheamus' neck like he's fainting, passing out.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it was so good.
So anyways, there's a big brawl between the Brutes and the Usos where they end up like dumping both the Brutes over the announce table and then dumping the announce table on the Brutes. And then Sheamus hits the Usos with a double clothesline off the top. He gets back in the ring, but Sammy holds his ankle, which allows Solo to hit a kick and that awesome Uranage of his to get the win. The Bloodline afterwards lay into Sheamus. He tries to fight them off, but he can't. The Bloodline gets some chairs. Jimmy wraps a chair around Sheamus's arm. Jay blasts it with a different chair a bunch of times, and he's trying to get some more. And Sammy's like, "Okay, you need to chill out. Like, you need to stop that."
Like enough,
yeah. So he holds him back, and he's like, "Come on, let's get out of here." But it was an awesome, man. It's so cool, like watching the Bloodline go to town like that. It's vicious and it's gnarly. I really like that stuff.
Yeah, same here. So then earlier in the day, I believe Ray arrives at the arena, Imperium. Ludwig, and Giovanni walk up to him. And he's like, Ray, you show up alone on SmackDown, and you think you stand a chance against Gunther. It's going to be the end for you. And Ray says, actually, this is a new beginning for me. I'm not looking for trouble. I don't like being disrespected either. So if either of you have the balls to step in the ring with me, let's throw down tonight. And Ludwig steps up, says, I'll make sure to punish this disrespect. And Ray just says, cool, see you in a few.
The ring, General. After that, we had that Bray Wyatt promo we were talking about. He says, I apologize for last week. I didn't get to finish what I was saying, but I will now. He says, I used to say all the time that revenge is a confession of pain, and it is. I still believe that. But I feel like confessing some things today, I feel that can help. He says, so here it goes. He says, I confess that I have problems. I've always had problems. He says, it's not hard for people to see, but there's a few of them, like anger, that can sometimes take me to places I don't want to be. And this past time, it took me to places that I shouldn't have come back from, but for whatever reason, I did. Chances that most people don't get. He says, but I confess that this time I was happy. I was content with being left alone. I was okay with it being over. I wanted you to stop saying my name. I wanted you to leave me the hell alone. He says, but I confess that I'm really glad you did because I needed you. I needed all of you. He says, you pulled the spears out of my ribs and told me what I was supposed to do without having to tell me. And I'm thankful for that because now I can see. I know who you are. I know what you want. I know what you're trying to do, but it won't work. I confess that along this journey, I'm going to do horrible, horrible things, but I'll never feel sorry for them. I'm just a servant now. I go where the circle takes me. And then he winks towards the camera. I'm just a servant now. I go where the circle takes me. I don't know what the fuck that means, but it sounds pretty cool.
Interesting. Well, then we're backstage. Bloodline are in the locker room, and Sammy's like, yeah, that's how it's done. That's why we're the ones. Sheamus can't do this, and he starts doing a dance with his arm.
Yeah.
He says, know what else Sheamus can't do? And he does his handshake with Jimmy. He says, because we just broke his damn arm. And Jay tells Solo, yeah, you're leveling up now every week. And Sammy says, yeah, Solo, you're doing amazing. As far as I'm concerned, Solo, you sent a message to the whole locker room. No mess with the Bloodline. Our work tonight is done. And Jay says, nope. As soon as Logan Paul gets here, we're going to get him too. And Sammy goes, no. Roman told us not to engage with Logan. Don't want to make it seem like Logan's in our heads. That wouldn't be very Usi. Go and mess with Logan Paul. And Jay says, okay, yeah, you're right. Well, I am a hothead, but we'll just have to see by the end of the night what really happens.
Yeah. Sort of placating him. And he says, but yeah, this shit's going to go down.
Yeah.
And Jimmy's like, my name's Bennett. He's like,
Yep.
you know, because Sammy's like, you know, Jimmy, what do you think? And he's like, that's right, my dog. Or I think he just says, my dog.
Yeah.
So he's sort of like, you know, I got nothing to do with this. After that, we had, by the way, shout out to Cultaholic for the raid. Thank you very much, fellas. Appreciate it.
Cultaholic. Thank you so much.
We had Liv Morgan versus Sonya Deville. Sonya dominates this early. In the end, Liv Morgan's going kind of crazy. She's got the bloodlust and doesn't care about getting count out. She's got a double count out because she's kept on killing Sonya Deville on the outside of the ring.
She's ramming her head to the ring steps.
Repeatedly. Oh, yeah. Just whoop hat. So Liv then puts a bunch of chairs in the ring, stacks them up, puts Sonya on the top rope, and then it's that looked like it sucked. A superplex on the pile of chairs, and Sonya's like selling it like crazy, and Liv is just like, but laughing her ass off about it. She likes the pain.
Then we had two video packages, one for LA Knight.
Yeah.
And another one of these Sarah Logan Viking Raiders video packages.
Yeah. After that, we had Braun Strowman and Amos coming face to face. Amos really knew how to dress for this occasion, man. He had a really slick-looking gray suit with like a black shirt and black tie. Braun, those non-color safe red pants of his again, man.
Man, those are bright.
I don't know what the deal is with. I don't know why he insists on wearing those things. He just likes the really, really bright red pants, I guess.
I guess so.
Anyways,
I guess so.
Braun comes to the ring first.
I mean, that's pretty much all the setup of match at Crown Jewel between Braun and Amos.
Yeah, you're right. We don't have to go through the promo shit. I'm glad you did that. But the one noteworthy bit is Amos shoved the shit out of Braun Strowman, and Strowman sold the crap out of it. That was cool to see.
It is impressive to see, because Braun, for the longest time, huge. Like essentially a force of nature there in the ring. You see Amos in there just towering over Braun.
Yeah.
By a substantial margin.
Yeah.
It is an impressive sight to behold.
This is going to be a fun fucking match, man. This is going to be
I hope so.
A fun match.
I hope so. I mean, I hope this whole feud, they book it in a way where it's just them trying to outdo each other in terms of destroying things in effort to hurt the other person.
This should be like just a big spectacle. You're right. Destruction.
Yeah.
Like they should not have any rules here. This should be like go to the back and just tear everything down. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, wow. Favorite customer says then they form a tag team. Holy shit.
Oh wow. Then we get a Drew McIntyre interview. He says at Extreme Rules, Cross pushed me past my breaking point, and I got called to W headquarters last week and had some uncomfortable conversation. It was made very clear to me that if myself and Cross get in each other's way and start throwing fists, there'll be severe consequences. But we all agreed this thing had to end. So at Crown Jewel, it's going to be the two of us in a cage match.
Yeah, that's right. In a cage. We see a shot of an SUV pulling up to the arena. Logan Paul gets out of it. And then we get Damage Control versus Shotzi and Raquel Rodriguez. I thought this was a good showing for Damage Control. It's nice looking. It's nice seeing them operating on with the advantage, because for a little while, especially that bit with Bianca at that last pay-per-view, them getting sort of clowned out of the arena by Bianca. It wasn't a great look. Pretty dominant here. Bailey gets the distraction on Shotzi. Io hits an air raid crash and a moonsault for the win after Dakota and Raquel end up sort of tumbling out of the ring.
Yep. Then we get a Ronda Rousey interview, and she pretty much asked, are you going to do open challenges now that you're champion again? And she just said, I used to do open challenges not to give anybody an opportunity, but prove my best. It's definitely not to entertain the WWE Universe. I owe them nothing. I gave them everything, and I got nothing but hate. If I kept chasing their approval after that, how pathetic does that make me? No, I didn't come back for them, and I don't win for them. She says, I took this title from their glitter Cinderella to spite them because they don't want the best to win. They want their favorites to win. But now they're stuck with the best. So she says next week, she's asked, so no open challenge then. And then Ronda says, well, next week, if I feel like it.
I felt this was a step back. I think that Ronda might legitimately feel that way about the WWE crowd sometimes. But this kind of stuff doesn't come off as genuine. It feels so forced. And that was the problem with her in the first place. Yeah. And I'm not saying she should be like smiling or happy or anything. I don't care what she is.
I just feel like with her, less is more.
I want her to come off as genuine. And I think that when you do less, I mean, she's just not good at doing the whole, I'm acting kind of thing. She just needs to show up and she fucks people up, and that's fine.
Yep.
That this was not as good as we've seen from her since Triple H took over, which I thought we've seen some pretty cool stuff.
Yep. Then we had another one of the I guess we'll refer to this character as Uncle Harper until we hear otherwise. The initial masked character that Bray Wyatt has been playing since his return. So it's the whole scrambled kind of TV thing still. And best I can make out saying, why don't you love me? Why don't you love me? You're drawn to the ones you love. And then Uncle Harper is interrupted by Uncle Howdy. Just says, howdy.
Howdy. After that, we had a Legato promo. They're sitting behind a nice desk of something. They're like in an office setting. Or they're on a couch or something. It looks nice. And Santo says, our family business is growing into an empire. He says businesses. He's like, we got shoved out by the family there in NXT by the Dawn. Said how we're bringing our family empire over here. He says businesses grow stronger and prosper with mergers and acquisitions, and our latest acquisition is the beautiful, ruthless, and powerful Zelina Vega. And then Vega, did she hand off a fancy PS4 controller to somebody?
It was a controller of some sort, yeah.
Okay, so maybe they were sitting there playing video, some couch co-op. I don't know. So she says Santos is right. I've been successful at everything I've done. LDF has no peers, no competition. Oh, this is the other one. They had the Legato theme song playing in the background. She says no competition because we're head and shoulders above everybody else. Santos says we're an unbreakable force fueled by tradition, heritage, and culture. Our legacy on SmackDown begins by destroying Hit Row. And then you cut to Hit Row backstage, and they're like, how are they going to say they're head and shoulders above everybody else when none of their heads reach my shoulders? And then Ashanti says, I'm tired of these fools jumping us from behind. They don't want to see us face to face. And then B-Fab says, Legato talking about how they're going to destroy Hit Row. They're not playing the numbers game. She says, but it doesn't matter because I have an idea.
And it was announced later on that it's going to be a tag match on SmackDown. Top Dollar, Ashanti, you have mystery partner against Legato.
Who's going to be the mystery partner? It's going to be a face of some sort. It's going to be Elias. He likes music. Hello, I am Elias. It's like I got all the hits for Hit Row.
Oh, my goodness. Then we had Rey Mysterio versus Ludwig Kaiser. This was a really fun bout. So at one point, there are several Eddie references, of course. And at one point, on the outside, Rey does the Eddie bit where he grabs a chair, throws it at Gunther, and Gunther just bats it away, doesn't catch it. But nonetheless, Rey takes a bump. So the ref just hears, human body hit chair, Rey on the ground. So he tosses Gunther and Vinci from ringside.
Yeah.
So then Rey hits Kaiser with an Enziguri, looking for a splash. Kaiser gets the knees up. It all leads to Hurricane Rana 619 splash for the win.
Yeah, exactly. They always, it's a shout out to Eddie Guerrero. Let me ask you something, because it's always at like 2 out of 3 matches with Rey Mysterio. Oh, it's an homage to Eddie Guerrero. If something happens to me, how long are you going to be paying homage to your best friend?
Well, people like it, I guess, in perpetuity.
You're just going to keep on doing it?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'll be like, hey, why don't you pay homage to Larson anymore? It's like, it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. I feel like 2 weeks is probably the upper limit for you. How much longer do you want me to pay homage?
Yeah, I know.
You got to grow a beard and have it the rest of your life.
Yeah, right? I don't really want to do that. I really can't anyways. So, I don't know. I joined Beard Club, apparently, and try their starter pack.
Maybe. We had this long Logan Paul promo.
Go to Spirit Halloween and get one.
There you go. You get this long Logan Paul promo where, again, pretty much his whole thesis is, yeah, I'm an underdog. Yeah, I'm probably going to lose. But if I get one punch in, you never know. He talks about being confident. He talks some trash about the bloodline. Eventually, though, Jay hits the ring. He lays out Logan from behind, hits some ground and pound, super kick, hip attack, and that's when Sammy comes out and it's like, hey, I told you, you can't do this. This is coming for me. This is coming for Roman. Get out of the ring. Let's go to the back. Let's leave this alone. And Jay's like, all right, you're right. So he's about to leave through the ropes, sprints right back over.
Like another hip attack. Like a child.
Another hip attack. Logan gets out of the way. Wapa. Knocks Jay out.
Yeah. One punch. Yeah.
One punch.
And Sammy's sitting there like, oh, that sucks. And then Logan just laughs and jumps out of the ring and goes. And that's our
they're doing a weird thing where they want to, it seems like they want Logan to be the face, but then he calls the crowd dubbies, Yeah,
you're right. Yeah. Yeah. Because like, I love being back in the state. And then he's like, all these dummies out here or at home or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's confused. It's a misfire. That's what it is. Yeah. It's a misfire. Yeah. We also had a Rampage on Friday night. The highlight of which, of course, was, as always, Nyla Rose.
Oh yeah.
And that TBS title. This time she was doing homage to 4 non-blondes.
Yep. What's going on?
And she drives off in Jade's car. And then Jade lays out a bunch of security guards and then ceases her takeover of the show.
Yeah.
Because she probably has to go report that car stolen, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, this stuff is pretty great. It's pretty great.
I like that. I like the Eddie Kingston Ortiz death triangle a little bit.
That's another storyline playing off of backstage stuff.
Yeah, but it's Eddie Kingston and he's on TV, so I'm happy. And everybody's like sort of ganging up on him like, hey, you're a hothead. It was like an intervention for Eddie Kingston doing Eddie Kingston things that he's been doing for like 20 years now.
I know.
Which was kind of funny because he's just sitting there in his hoodie. He's like, hey, what did I do?
I know he's wearing his Knicks hoodie, just completely confused by what everybody's talking about.
He's got his eye on that Reese's pie.
Oh, that Reese's pie.
And they're just giving him so much shit. My only problem with this episode of Rampage, I was cool. Willow, that was not my problem. That was not my problem. I was very
officially
happy
all elite.
Finally, officially all elite. That is great. That's fucking awesome.
That is awesome.
Why did they feel the need to shoehorn Orange Cassidy in the main event? Like 10, I know it started with Andrade in 10, but Roosh and 10 have had this thing going for fucking ever now. They have their main event here.
Wait. So when 10 and Roosh made their match, it was just, did 10 say, if I beat you, you leave me alone? But did Roosh ask for 10's mask?
Oh, I don't know. I stopped paying attention once Andrade got kicked out.
Because maybe they thought, well, maybe we didn't want 10 to lose his mask.
I don't think this was a stipulation match. I don't think it was. I could be wrong. They talk so damn much.
The match on Rampage wasn't, but there was a stipulation for 10 and Roosh's match.
You mean the Andrade? Well, I remember the Andrade one was you either.
But then Roosh challenged 10 to a match after that.
Oh, was there that? And that had a mask stipulation.
And that was going to be the match, but then Orange, got involved in it.
Oh, okay. Just to write themselves out of having to do the mask thing?
I think so.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, Zondo says Roosh.
I don't know about the mask, but I'm pretty sure that they had a backstage bit. It was 10's like, if I beat you, then you got to leave me alone. That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I may have confusing that with the Andrade one.
Yeah, I was just like, these guys have been going at it for so long. Just let them go at it. You don't have to protect it. I don't know what you do. You just have Roosh win, and then he could lean down and say, "Hey, Cabron, you need to, you need to join us."
Yeah,
and then he doesn't, and then they still feud or something. But I get, they did the lazy. I look, I thought it was funny because I loved the Orange Cassidy being in Mark Henry's box for the interview.
Yeah, that was funny.
I thought the backstage at the bar where he had it in his backpack and he was like, because that's how he carries it. And he's like, hey, you guys want a drink? And can I get in your match? I thought that was all fine stuff, but it's like big picture. Like it kind of sidelines the Roosh 10 stuff.
Mm-hmm.
People are sitting there invested in it. They're like, what the hell is this guy doing in it? I don't know. Let's just get into it, I suppose. Opening bout, The Acclaim taking on Tony Nese and Josh Woods for the tag titles. The stipulation here was The Acclaimed wins, they get the trademark back. Yeah.
Well, they won, and Mark Sterling's like, I'm not giving you the trademark.
Yeah.
Instead, Billy, Daddy Ass, who got kicked out from ringside earlier, comes back down, throws Sterling into the ring. Acclaim stomp him in the nuts as promised. And then Billy takes the trademark paperwork, rips it up, and then they all scissor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess, Sterling could at this point just order a copy of that trademark certificate.
Yeah, just because you ripped up the certificate, I don't think it means the trademark is null and void at this point.
Isn't the fucking Old West. Where a single piece of paper is loan documentation for
exactly.
something. That we had a Jade Cargill interview with Tony. Says Layla's going to face Willow tonight because Penelope Ford, I think, is injured.
Injured, yeah.
And Jade says to Tony, cut the shit. Once again, I've come to save Rampage. I'm a professional, a woman of my word. She says, and I've set up Layla to whoop Willow's ass and send her back to the Indies where she belongs. And then Tony says, well, Jade is going to get a chance to get in the ring with Nyla Rose tonight. And Jade says, we made a deal. She says, I give her Layla. She gets her belt back.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
Yeah. And I'm curious having Willow be involved. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. In this whole TBS thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that going to lead to potentially Willow being the one to beat Jade for it?
I hope so. She's lost like 3 times now to Jade.
I know.
So you would think that, God, it'd be the smart move. It'd be the real smart move, man. Willow is money.
Yep. Then we had that interview backstage where Ortiz gathered Lucha Brothers to have a bit of an intervention for Eddie Kingston. And so Ortiz says, hey, you got a problem. You keep losing. You're out of control. And I asked everybody to come together here because we're all your friends. Penta says, yeah, you're one of the best wrestlers in the world. Phoenix says, Eddie, you're a superstar. Alex says, Lucha Brothers don't want to see you lose your temper and lose another job. And then Pac steps in.
Eddie, you should listen to us. We're champions. Compose yourself. And then Ortiz says, I didn't ask you to come here.
Yeah.
Eddie. I love Pac. He's so
Compose
great.
yourself. I know he's so good.
Compose yourself.
And then we had Ari Daivari taking on Hook. Daivari says before the match, hey, you might not be a check guy. I wanted to buy the title off you, so I'm going to offer you some cash. This is your last opportunity. Hook slaps the cash out of his hand. About a minute and a half later, Daivari taps out to Red Rum.
That was the fakest looking money I've ever seen, man. That shit did not even look close to real dollar bills.
Nope.
After that, oh God, this was fucking horrible. This made me cringe inside so bad. I had such secondhand embarrassment for Matt Hardy here. So it was Ethan Page and Stokely and Matt Hardy in an interview. Now Matt Hardy belongs to the firm or whatever, and Hardy's like, hey, what am I doing here? Where's Private Party? Stokely says, we sent them to the Stokely Hathaway Wrestling Academy so they can work on their fundamentals. And Paige says, yeah, they can get that Matt Hardy stink off them too. And then Matt Hardy asks, okay, well, why am I here? And Stokely's like, because you have a match. Hardy's like, oh, tonight a Rampage? He says, no, TV time is for people like Paige and the firm. You've got a match on Elevation. Read your contract. And then we get a whiff of the Matt Hardy stink that Paige is talking about because Matt Hardy busts out the worst rap I've ever heard in my life.
Well, he took the lyrics from Public Enemy's Black Steel and the Hour of Chaos, and changed them a little bit to apply to the
butchered them.
Yeah, and to apply to the firm handing him his contract.
And Stokely was like, what the fuck is this?
Oh, I know. The look Stokely gave the camera was great.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. And then, on top of that, Mayor Plan Houston, they buried Elevation. They totally did.
I know. Then we got Layla Gray versus Willow Nightingale. Willow wins with the Doctor Bomb, and then Shivani gets the ring, announces that Willow is all elite. Jade comes to the ring with a chair, so Willow leaves. Baddies join Jade, and then Jade takes a seat, grabs the mic, says, Nyla, I'm a classy woman, and I'm not some bum-ass thief, so I'm going to give you 10 seconds to bring my belt back. So she starts counting down, and at 1, Marina Shafir shows up in the Tron and says, I think, like, hey, is this what you wanted, Jade? So Nyla is in a car, and she's singing a rendition with her own lyrics, as if you mentioned, Four Don Blonde's What's Going On.
Her version was a good version of it, not like Matt Hardy's version,
Yes. And she says, I know what you're looking for. I know you're looking for this, but I miss Jacksonville way too much. So I got your keys from the valet. And then Nyla drives off with Vicky and Marina in the car. And so the baddies run backstage. And Jade says, I meant what I said. I'm not leaving until I get my belt back. So security comes to the ring. She destroys them.
Yeah, that was great.
Absolutely destroys them. And then leaves the ring and goes backstage.
I guess so. Yeah, it didn't exactly hold things up.
No.
After that, we have Orange and 10 and Roosh at a bar. And he offers them up some drinks. Neither of them indulge. And he's like, hey, if you want me to be in this match, I'll be in it. I'll put this up. So, yeah. And then we had the interview. And Orange is asked why he's putting his title on the line. He's like, I don't know. I felt like it. And then Ted 10 says, you know what? I'm happy you did because I get to beat Roosh's ass and walk out of Jacksonville as champ. Roosh says, after I beat 10, you're going to know what being ingobernables is all about. And then Jose says Roosh is going to take that All-Atlantic title too. Then we have the match.
Yep. And it was fun enough. It was a solid match. But yeah, it was kind of, other than Orange interjecting himself just because he wanted to, there really wasn't a whole lot of rationale behind it.
Yeah. I mean, he made the match better. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, he made the match better. Yeah, to somebody here in chat said, I kind of agree with this. There are moments where 10 sort of looked lost in the triple threat. Like at one point, Roosh, they were on the outside and Roosh like did something to Orange Cassidy. They put him through. Oh, they tried to put him through a table.
Yeah.
And he was going to set that up again. And 10 just sort of stood there and watched what was going on. It's like, what am I supposed to be doing right now?
Yeah. In the end, 10 took the loss. He's looking for the discus clothesline in Orange. Orange ducks that. Orange looking for a beach break. 10 reverses it into a sunset flip. Doesn't get all the way over because Orange just sits down on him, grabs his leg, gets the pin. And then as Roosh and 10 are taking their leave, they have a bit of a stare down the ramp. -1 runs out. 10 picks him up, carries him backstage. So I don't know. I don't know if that stare down between Roosh and 10 was kind of a tease of, oh, maybe 10, now that he's taking this L, is going to be interested in what Roosh has to say. That is until -1 comes out and 10's like, oh, Dark Order. Still, I don't know.
And there was also an extended thing with Roosh and Orange Cassidy, like at the end as well, like them staring at each other and Orange Cassidy awkwardly waving at him, saying hi. So, yeah. So I know that, it hasn't been great lately for you, but we're at the end of the show.
Yeah, let's get him on
He's
the
waiting in the waiting room.
Let's get him on the phone.
We've got currently
only a couple things.
Head of all things creative in the WWE Universe, Triple H. He's here. Paul Levesque is here in the waiting room. I'm going to go do some stuff. This is all you. Here we go.
All right.
Okay. Hello.
Hello,
Steve,
Triple H.
Steve,
How are you
there?
today?
You there, Steve?
Yeah, we're here.
I'm here. Don't interrupt. I'm here. I am having a great day. I'm having a great day. It's Monday. I've been on the phone all morning with the agent of a certain free agent from a pissant company who may or may not be showing up on your WWE television pretty soon. Look in my eyes, Steve. What do you see? A multiplier of like 2 times our current TV deal if the ratings are to be believed once this person shows up on WWE programming.
Wow, that's huge news, Triple H. Thanks for dropping that.
News. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Who do you think I'm talking about?
Well, you made it pretty clear. You said, look in my eyes, who do you see? Those are the lyrics for Cult of Personality. There's only one person used that as the wrestling theme.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's coming. Do you know who it is?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Don't interrupt me.
We asked the question.
All right. I'm very excited about this.
Cool. Are you excited about Raw tonight?
You didn't say who you thought it was.
Well, who do you think it is?
Well, I know who it is. I've been on the phone with his lawyer all day. Is this going to be one of those situations you're going to be difficult today, Steve?
No.
Don't interrupt. I wasn't done with my thought because as I was saying, because if it is, this is going to be a very brutal phone call. See, I was in a good. I find it funny. I was in a good mood coming into this phone call, and then you start playing games. See, Dirt Sheet's always playing games here. What am I here for again? God. Oh my God.
Sorry, you paused. I thought you were done. Do you want to talk about Raw tonight?
Yes, I want to talk about Raw. I've been working on this for a month now. Tonight's episode has been after, especially. Oh my God! What? Do not interrupt me again.
All right, sorry. The floor is yours.
Do not interrupt me again. Now, last week was a colossal disaster because Road Dogg was in charge. I finally cleared a negative COVID test, so the game is back in action. He's not going to be. Was that like a sound glitch, or are you interrupting me again? Oh my God! Listen. Going to be a killer Raw tonight. So great. So much going on tonight. I've got 2 items for preview because I don't want to spoil how great this is. No noises, no interrupting me. First up, now I feel like you're just fucking with me. Do you want to do this Raw preview or not?
The floor is yours, Triple H.
Bianca Belair and Bayley to duke it out once more.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good one. They're gonna fight. They're gonna put fisticuffs up, and they're gonna fight. Who do you think's gonna? Don't interrupt. Who do you think's gonna win this? By the way, I was having a great weekend, and then I flipped over to your stupid Twitch channel, not your stupid Twitch channel, Steve. And I see that you got the other guy on there, and then the Enforcer, and the Enforcer ends up winning that stupid Big Red title behind you. How is that possible given that he's trash?
That's a long conversation. So
that sounds like an absolute pathetic excuse. And if there was a sledgehammer and you were nearby, one thing, I was up last night, Sunday night, dreading this phone call because I knew that you'd be such a jackass.
Can I make one correction?
Sure.
Never mind. No, never mind.
You're going to correct the game? You're going to correct the game. Wow.
No, I didn't say what the correction was about. But anyways, regardless, let's move on to the next one. Next segment here.
Can you just agree with me that Enforcer's trash? Folks, where's the lie?
Ooh.
Carl Anderson, the machine gun, can't call him that, prepares to be judged as he fights Finn Balor. Oh, man. We're bringing Carl Anderson to eat some of these pins. It's great. He's getting a lot of money, but you don't interrupt. But he's gonna be eating this pin against Finn Balor, which is great because also like New Japan hates him, and so I've been telling him like, Carl, you should wear your Never title to the show tonight, and he's like, oh, they're already mad at me, game, and I'm like, no, it'd be great. It'd be great. It's a relationship between us and New Japan where we get to do what we want, and they don't. Because we're the WWE, they're just pissing at New Japan.
Wow.
Yeah, they'll do whatever we want.
What did Carl say about that?
He just put his hands like he was holding a machine gun and started making machine gun sounds.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, he was like, oh, am I coming into work today? Am I going to eat another pin? I was like, yeah, I hope you're hungry. Yeah. Don't laugh. Anyways, that's going to do it. You've pissed me off quite enough already. I'll be back on Friday for the SmackDown review. I hope that you apply the notes that the other guy's going to give you on our relationship so that you can try your best to make it better. More, but better.
All right.
Game out.
Okay.
Game over.
All right.
It's going to be game over for you.
All right. Thanks, Triple H.
He's already gone. He's already gone. Did that go a lot better?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, good.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, he'll talk, and I'll try to make conversation.
Yeah, right.
Like, he'll literally pause, and I'll say something, and he says, don't interrupt.
You shouldn't interrupt him, dude.
But I'm not.
Listen.
He says he completes a thought. There's a pause. I'm actually giving him a good second and a half pause to make sure there's nothing else to say.
I'm gonna watch this segment back.
No, don't.
Make some.
Listen, I am not in the mood for that. I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. In fact, he brought up something about taking notes from you. Are you secretly sending Triple H notes?
Dude, I wouldn't even know where to start. I think that he watches this show. Did he say that he watched like our watch along?
Watched your watch along. He still thinks I'm you.
Oh wow, he's got.
And I was like, Triple H, could I add something here? And I was like, never mind. This is gonna.
You don't want to add anything.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. So I'm not in the mood for it.
You
I don't
didn't
feel
hold
the
on.
best.
You didn't try to correct him on anything, did you?
No, I didn't. I had the thought, but then I thought better of.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Well, okay. So yeah, I'll give you your notes because I feel like maybe.
I'm telling you right now, there's a good chance I might call in sick Friday for the end of the show.
Wow. Who's gonna do the? God, that's terrible. We're trying to build a relationship with WWE.
I'm feeling like at this juncture it might be bad for my health.
Oh no. Okay. Well, you'll have some time to think about it.
But here's the thing. On the opposite, he thinks I'm you, so I don't know what he actually thinks of Larson. He thinks horribly of Steve.
He's starting to. You're ruining my name with him.
So maybe I should continue this because in the end,
I can't.
Not my name that's being besmirched.
You're already there with him.
Mm-hmm.
Hang die with Triple H and Larson. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. We appreciate it. Thanks to Paul Levesque, Triple H The Game, for zooming in for that, what was probably a beefy Raw preview. How many do you have, like 6 different items on that preview?
There's 2.
What?
There's only 2.
Well, anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate it. Let us know what you think about all this stuff in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button, notify bell. Hit, if you're listening to this in the audio realm, leave a review, a rating. 5 stars.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Anyways, thanks for watching. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.